are live. So I'm so happy that today is our second episode of Girl, Share Your Story. I'm your host, Chantel, and we are having a very intimate conversation. So I want you to know that you can share your feedback, your highlights, your breakthrough moments in the comment section so that we can know that we are reaching you in some way, because that's our intention. The goal of Girl Share Your Story is all about empowering you to help you
Mhm.
go in and out of your seasons like a champion. There are many seasons that we go through in life.
Oh no. Are you there? Mhm.
Okay, so we had a little technical glitch, but that's all right. So, as I was saying, the purpose of this show is really to help you navigate through seasons of uncertainty. And certainly, we all are living in a time of uncertainty now. And so, we want to be able to share with you what things we've gone through, the
Mhm.
trials, the tribulations, and even the triumphs that
Yeah.
have allowed us to go and be champions. And that is something that we're passionate about. And so
Mhm.
today I am super excited to be joined
Mhm.
by none other than
Mhm.
Manuela, who, as you have read in the title, is a Christian author, and Manuela, she's here helping us understand what it means to rise again. So,
Yeah.
if you would allow me the honor of welcoming our friend, our coach for the next couple of minutes, Manuela. She's an author, a speaker, a preacher, and well known in the area of motivation. And so she's going to share with us some very important strategies to help us rise again. So, Manuela, take it away.
Hi. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm excited to share my story. I will be as transparent as you want me to be. And so I'm excited to, share with people my story and also uplift people. So I'm ready if you are.
Definitely. What this whole movement is about, because when I first saw your book cover, I saw the fight within, and I saw a boxing glove, coming through some shattered glass. And I'm like, wait, that looks very compelling, because typically you see book covers of people's faces, and I love those too. Each of those styles
Right,
have their place. Yeah, each
right.
of those styles have their place. However, yours was quite different. And it was very jarring in a sense that I wanted to know more. So tell us a little bit more about what that whole concept comes from, the fight within.
The fight within, for me, I would say from childhood to now, I just feel like I believe that with my story, God from the beginning was just painting a picture with me. And so through the highs and the lows, I feel like my whole story has been about fighting, fighting to rise, fighting to make it, fighting not to stay in the valley place, but rising above where
Uh-oh.
God wants to take me. Can you hear
The
me?
connection is breaking just a bit. I just want to make a technical suggestion. Do you have on your home Wi-Fi, or are you using your cell phone's Wi-Fi?
I'm using my home. Do you want me to take off my home?
Yeah, use your cell phone Wi-Fi because it may be stronger. And while
Okay.
you adjust that, I'm just gonna I'll bring Manuela back on as soon as she's able to get connected with us. But I see that there are some beautiful faces up in this place, and so I want to hear from you. Who's with me? If you are with me, just type in the chat. I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, so that I can bring you up on the screen as well, not your face unless you want to, but that we can have a dialogue, because again, the intention for this type of conversation is for us to be able to, one, get inspired. Inspiration is like taking a bath. We absolutely need it every single day, because every day there will be another battle that we face. So I want to be able to give you that piece of information and inspiration. Number two, the goal of Girl, share your story is to let each of us remember that we're not alone. So there will be things that we go through in life that make us feel ashamed. We will feel afraid and we will be fearful. But when we realize that there are people who have been through what we are going through, it allows us to know, like, there's a chance for me to get out of this. And I want you to know there is absolutely a chance for you to get out of whatever you feel is negative and that's happening to you right now. There's an escape. Because as I always say, wherever there is life, there is hope. And so we're here to hi Annette, we're here to give you some inspiration. And I don't have all the information myself. I don't ever want to have all the information. And so that's why I'm allowing and inviting guests on our weekly program to give you that dose of wisdom that can benefit and uplift your life. So tonight we have Manuela on the line today. Manuela, she was just telling us about her story, particularly her new book called The Fight Within. Manuela, are you there?
Mhm.
Annette said, hey, girl.
I'm there. Can you hear me?
I can. Connection's still a little choppy, so but we'll see if we can
I can hear
manage.
you. Can you hear me?
We'll see if we can manage despite the connection. So go ahead. You were telling us why this theme, what this theme, the fight within, means, and how it showed up in your own life to bring you to the point where you
Yeah.
had to write a book about it.
The overall message for me is I have been waiting. The book really talks about me waiting on God, whereas personal relationship, waiting on a husband, waiting on things like um, answering my call, running away from my call because I wanted to do my own thing. And so I'm always fighting, whether it's fighting my will to do my own way, and then submitting to God and doing what He wants me to do.
So we just lost Manuela, but we did not lose the importance of her message. She said that the reason why her message is talking about fighting within yourself is because we have our personal will of things that we want to do. Like before, I came into Trinidad and we started working with young people and doing ministry. Me and my husband, my fiance at the time, like we would have been so happy simply traveling the world for 10, 15 years without being of service to other people, but that wasn't what God wanted us to do. So similar to you, Manuela, we had a fight between our will, what we wanted to do versus what we knew we were supposed to do. And that's why I think that your message is really key about that infighting. But tell us more about that, what it meant for you, and what were you battling with specifically?
Right.
Manuela?
Yes, can you hear me? I can hear you. Hello?
Okay, I can hear you now.
I can I can
There
hear
there
you.
there's a bit of a
It's weird.
delay.
Do you
So
want me
maybe if
to come off and come back in?
I can't hear you. Okay, so maybe if you only do audio or try your Wi-Fi again. I'm not really sure. I'm not a tech person. We probably have some tech people on the line that could probably help us navigate this whole thing. But anyway, so Manuela has this book called The Fights Within, and you'll hear more, hopefully, about her own journey. But I want to hear from you. What are some things that you are fighting with right now that you feel you really don't know what the next step is for you? Let me know in the chat. What are you fighting with right now? For me, I was fighting for a long time and still am having a little bit of a battle with my health. And I'm fighting with knowing that God is a healer, but also waiting on Him to heal me absolutely completely from the inside out. And after struggling with having asthma for years, and only now it's really feeling like it's stopping me and it's more oppressive than it's ever been. However, in the ironic thing is that I'm more spiritual in alignment with Jesus Christ than I've ever been in my life before. I wasn't always a believer. So now I have this new level of spirituality, and I know now that he's a healer. I know now how to pray. I know now how to go to church. Like I know all of these things that my soul needed for the past 30 some odd years. But now I have a challenge where it's testing my faith. Not really, because I know that either way, whether he heals me or not, I'm still going to be in alignment with Jesus Christ. But no, in moments where I feel like I can't breathe and I feel like I'm suffocating and I'm just like, oh my God, like, Lord, you know, am I going to die right now? Like those moments are real and they happen more frequently than I care to experience. But that could test my faith. And so everything is a fight, whether we're fighting on procrastinating on that new business that we want to start or submitting that application to go to school. We have moments in our day where we are fighting some battle. So I want to know from you, what are you fighting right now? Twileen, she's fighting with health, arthritis in both knees, too young to have knee surgery. That is a big fight, because you know that in order for you to do what you're called to do, in order for you to be the speaker, to be the coach, to be the mom, the daughter, the aunt, you need your body, right? And so that is an incredible battle that you're facing right now. But I know what Manuela wanted to share is that just because we are facing the battle, and just because we have on our boxing gloves, and just because we get knocked down from time to time, does not mean that we cannot rise again. And so I want to know, what strategies are you using to rise? Not because you're not at the finish line yet, but just tell me what things you're doing on a daily basis that's allowing you to feel like, okay, today was a good day, right? Because when I was young, I used to hear the old people say, oh, I'm just taking it one day at a time. And now that I'm older, I realize that's true. Like you can't have this big grandiose plan, because like the good line says, when you show God your plan, he laughs. You don't necessarily have to have this big plan, but if you take it step by step, day by day, eventually you'll have the results that you're looking for, God willing. And so, as we are on the line now, I see Manuela. She's looking like her internet is good. Manuela, can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, I went upstairs. I was downstairs and now I'm upstairs. So hopefully this is better.
It
Can you
is. It
see me?
sounds good.
Okay,
Yes,
very good.
I love it. We were talking about the different fights that we're having. You
Okay.
could probably see in the chat, Twaleen talked about the physical fight that she's having, in terms of her health. And I
Hmm.
pray in the name of Jesus that you receive relief by his blood, because by his stripes we are all healed. Some of us will experience it on the other side. I hope I experience it on this side.
Yes,
But
definitely.
my prayer for you is that you will be comforted and you will have healing show up in your body um, immediately in Jesus' name. And Venus said that you were healed according to the book of Isaiah. That means that you are healed. The promise will be exhausted. I receive that. I absolutely do. I share
Yeah.
with them my own journey of fighting with my personal health and battling this thing called asthma. But I don't claim that, y'all. I am
Mhm.
healed, just like Venus said. Yes, because of his word. And now let's talk about things that are not related to health that we fight. Venus said that she's fighting with procrastination right now. Could you share with us some insight about what this whole fight means? Because some of us, from time to time, we don't even know we're in a battle, but we just are going through the motions. Talk to us a little bit about that, Manuela.
Um, when you're fighting, for me, in my seasons of fighting, one of the things that I had to learn was get out of my way. get out of God's way. A lot of times when we're fighting, we put on our flesh, right? And so we don't allow God to help us through the seasons, the valleys, the mountaintops. We just want to do it on our own strength. And so what ends up happening, what I find out with my fight within, is that sometimes I can have peace in the midst of the storm, but I don't, because I'm fighting on my own, not allowing God to help me through it all by praying and by fasting, meditating. So now I'm learning, no matter what I go through, as long as I have God with me, He's gonna see me through. And sometimes in our going through, it's really, we're learning different things, because it's not really about us. That's one thing I had to learn. In my going through, I'm focusing on Manuela, but God is like, you're focusing on the wrong thing. When we go through
Mm-hmm.
things, it's testimonies, we come out, we help someone else. And so getting out of the way and allowing God to do whatever it is He's doing in our season of going through, and learning different lessons, because I can say my prayer life is better than it's been in years, because I've learned how to seek God in my pain, right? I've learned how to seek God as I go through. And so in life, we're going to continue to have different struggles, but you become stronger in God. The more you seek God, the more you are more stronger in Him. And so I definitely encourage people, no matter what you're going through right now, seek God. Invite God in your life, and invite God in your pain, invite God in your sickness, because even though you may be discouraged, but know that with God all things are possible. And
All
so don't
things.
focus so much, all things, don't focus so much on what you're going through. Ask God to help you bless others, encourage others in your going through.
Absolutely. Now, talk to us about a time where you were in one of the biggest fights of your life. And I think I remember you telling me a little bit about this earlier. But share
Uh-huh.
with me what that moment was like, what happened, and
Which
why.
experience? Is it the car accident? Which one are we talking about?
Well, whichever one you want to share.
Well, one is I went through a car accident, and the car accident, I had three car accidents. And so the first one, I injured my back. The second one was minor, but I became fearful of driving. The
Wow.
third one almost took me out, because it was a head-on collision at the mall 2 days before Christmas. And I knew God saved my life, but I had a back issue. But the crazy thing is, after that accident, two things happened. I was depressed for 7 months, and also I became very fearful of driving. So for
Hmm.
a long time, a whole year, I did not go to where the accident took place. I
Wow.
hated driving on the highway. And it happened, I believe it happened during rain. So when it rained, that was a fear. So fear paralyzed me. And then depression took my mind. And so I was just in bondage. And it got to a point where I had to cry out to God, because I couldn't function. Fear was
Hmm.
just the main thing. And I just was like, okay, God, I need help, because I'm afraid of driving. My mind is overthinking, and I'm depressed, and I'm sad. No, I go to church, I leave the same way. Nothing was working. So it's one of those things where you have to seek God in your pain. And that's what I had to do. And I remember fasting. I remember crying out to God, and telling him, I can't do this on my own. Part of me just wanted to give up. And one of the things I did well, I would look like I was okay, but I really wasn't okay, because a lot of times we're good at putting the mask on, and showing that, oh, we're good, but then you leave and people don't see behind the closed doors the tears and the pain that you're experiencing. So that's one of the things that I experienced with my car accident. So depression and just being afraid of driving.
And so I'm
You're in and out.
Yeah, I see. When I'm out, I see that the camera goes black, so I'm like, let me wait. But
Yeah.
I tend not to use the word depression so much because it resonates on different levels with people. And
Hmm.
then a lot of times when you're not in faith, in the faith, then you look at depression as something that prescriptions is the only result that can
Hmm.
handle that. You look at
Hmm.
depression as something that only a psychologist or psychiatrist can help you with. However, depression is I'm out again. Yeah, but for permanent depression relief, I know there is a formula that you use, that we use, and you touched on it a little bit more. And Venus, she absolutely expressed it in the chat. She said the key is fasting, praying in the spirit, and reading.
Definitely, definitely. Reading your word and fasting, because there comes a time where you have to empty yourself, and you it's like you hit a wall. You hit a wall to where you know, if you don't seek God for what you're going through, you're gonna lose your mind. You're not gonna make it. And so it was one of those things where I had to seek God for myself. It's good for people to pray for you, and that's great. But there comes a time where it has to be you and God, and you like, okay, God, I need you. Only you can do this for me. And so that's why I say praying and fasting. Definitely. That's how I was able to come out of that. Also, I think tonight we're fighting the internet. We're fighting the Wi-Fi tonight, and I just think it's a work of the enemy who does not want this interview to take place. And so the devil's busy tonight.
Not going to trouble this internet too much, but I think that we got some really valuable nuggets in terms of the fight, understanding number one, that everyone will experience some level of fight in their life. What my fight is may not be your fight. What Manuela's fight is won't be yours necessarily. But you have to recognize the fight when it comes and presents itself. And number two, you have to be equipped with the right strategies in order to get out of that fight. It's not always going to happen instantly. And sometimes, Manuela, you could probably relate to this, is that when we don't get the resolution quick enough or the answer soon enough, then we give
Mhm.
up. But just like anyone being in a real ring, a real battle, if you give up too quickly, you lose the war. And
Yep. And
sometimes you have to just endure it until you receive that type of resolution, until you receive that breakthrough that you're looking for. And Manuela gave us that second tip, which was to use the strategies that's going to help free you from that type of bondage. The fights within will help you. You will be able to succeed with the fight that you're experiencing within once you have the right tools to get out of it. And those tools, fasting, praying, having accountability partners. If you're
mhm,
feeling like you're alone and depressed, guess what? You just need to let somebody else know who has your spiritual interests in mind to help you get over that hump and check in with you every now and then. I don't know who was in your circle, Manuela, to help you during that time.
um, my circle's very small, so I had close friends. I had family members who helped me. My sister was a key helper during my accident because when I refused to drive, she would make me drive with her on the local street just so I could come out of that fear. And she reminded me that God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power and a sound mind. So every time that she would remind me of what God's word says, then I felt convicted that I couldn't stay there. I couldn't stay in my fear. I had to rise above my fear, in spite of me thinking, oh, when I get behind this wheel, someone's going to come and hit me. I had to like change my thought, change my mindset, right? Because everything is perspective. You have to speak life to yourself, right? And so I had to change my perspective. And also, too, let me say this: one of the verses, my favorite verse in the Bible, it says the race has not been given to the strong nor the swift, but to the one that endures. And
Yeah,
so, in going through, that's one of my favorite verses because it reminds me that God knows there's going to be valley seasons, there's going to be low moments, there's going to be high moments, but understand that part of being here on earth, you're going to experience trials and tribulation. And so God reminds us we're going to go through some stuff. You're going to cry sometime, but remember, it's to the one that endures. That's what
that's
God is
right.
requiring of us. No, so no matter what you're going through, understand that as long as you endure, God will see you through it. So that's
As
important.
long as you as long as you endure, God will see you through it because your steps are
Mhm.
ordered by him. So the things that
That's
you
right.
experience when you're in the
Mhm.
will of God are things that he will get you out of because he loves you and he's
Mhm.
behind you. He's backing you in every way.
Yeah,
And I just love what Venus said. She's like, the only time that we lose is when we give up. So
that's
keep
right.
on fighting. It's
That's
hard,
right.
but keep on fighting. And although, Venus, you may feel alone sometimes, you understand that you have a whole community that is here cheering for you. I think
Mhm.
sometimes what keeps us from getting into action and staying in action is that we
That's
think that we're
right.
by ourselves. We think that no one's going to watch, no one's going to
Mhm.
listen to my podcast, no one's going to
Mhm.
read my book. And even though we were filled with the wisdom and with the enthusiasm and the excitement to write that last chapter, to submit that last resume, even though we
Mhm.
were passionate about it to begin with, we let that negative self-talk convince us that it's not worth it. And so I want you to know that there are people who need to hear your voice. There are people
Yeah.
who will be saved because of your story. There are people who
Mhm.
need you to get back up, Venus, right? Because
Yep.
they will need your hand extended to them
Definitely.
when the time comes. And so I want you all to thank Manuela with me. You can do a virtual hand clap for being bold enough to share. And she only gave us a snippet of her story. If you want to learn more about this idea of being the champion when you're fighting within, Manuel, I want you to tell them how they can get in touch with you and learn more about
Mm.
your tribe.
Definitely. You can find me at thefightswithin.com, which is my blog website. Everything you need to know about me is on that website. My book link is on there. My radio show is on there. My new project is on there. So thefightswithin.com or thefightswithin@gmail.com. You can email me personally and I will reach back to you also. Here's my book here, The Fights Within. So it's available Kindle, hard copy, and paperback.
Awesome. So she gave you her personal details, y'all. So go ahead and make sure you get in touch with Miss Manuela. And she has an awesome radio show. I was just a guest on that show recently. And thank you for inviting me for that conversation. And I will hope that you come back and share more of your story with us.
I'm
Thank
sorry
you
for all the
again.
technical difficulties. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, once we get rid of all these technical glitches, we'll find that bug and we'll get rid of them. We'll fight that bug.
Yes,
That's the
yes.
only fight we want to have tonight. But remember, your story matters, and there is an audience waiting for you to reach back out, connect with them through your story, and allow them to grow as a result of you being bold and showing up brilliantly for
Yes.
your people. I'm Chantel. Manuela, thanks so much. We'll see you next
Thank
time.
you. Bye.
Blessings.